All right, and we are on. Hello, everyone. Tom Tabor here, Tabor Football Podcast. With me again is Kagan Skidmore. That means we're definitely previewing a division today.
Oh yeah. What's
So
up,
to,
Tom?
oh, not much, man. Just living the dream. But today we are previewing what I think will be a very competitive division this year, the AFC East. So this division does not shy away from Super Bowls. Obviously, you have the legendary New England Patriots of the 21st century who, hold six rings in this century. And then, the Bills went to four straight Super Bowls. Miami's been the five. The Jets went to one. So, fun fact about the Jets: did you know that the Jets are the only team to have a Super Bowl title, but not a conference championship?
How does that how does that work?
So, when they won their Super Bowl, it was still AFL NFL.
So with Joe Namath, yeah.
Yep. So they've once the merger happened, they've yet to make it to the Super Bowl. So they've never won an AFC Championship game.
That's hilarious. I did not know that.
Yep.
Uh, what I'll say about this conference is, this conference has been dominated in the last century by the Patriots,
Yep.
and I think in the last probably
Since
post
Brady's been
Tom
gone.
Brady era,
Yep.
like there's definitely been a shift in this conference, and it's been recently dominated by the Bills. The Dolphins have peaked over here and there a little bit, but then the Bills won it last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
I
So
think
the
so.
Bills have won it every single year
Yeah,
since
since Brady's
2020.
gone. That's what I
Yep.
thought. So,
And
but
then
I think especially this year with some of the obvious player changes throughout the conference, I think it's going to be really competitive.
so yeah, in terms of player changes, I think the strength of this division is definitely at the quarterback position.
Oh,
So
100%. Yeah.
obviously you have Aaron Rodgers now with the Jets.
Yeah.
Obviously one of the premier quarterbacks might get his first MVP this year. Josh
Yeah.
Allen. We'll see. Hopefully he can take a step up. Tua, when healthy, he's shown some brilliance, especially this past season. That Dolphins offense was hot when Tua was in the picture. You could see how ineffective they were without Tua. So he's definitely a key player for them. And then I guess you can say the probably the weaker core. I hate to use that term. I don't want to say that, but Mac Jones, he definitely had the sophomore slump last year. Showed a lot of promise as a rookie, but actually just completely off topic real quick. I want to talk about that 2021 quarterback class. Are we seeing the decline of the 2021 quarterback class?
That's Mac Jones. Who all was in that class? Is that
Zach Wilson,
Zach Wilson?
Trey Lance,
Yeah, I mean,
Trevor Lawrence, Davis Mills,
it's almost
and
looking
Justin Fields.
like a dud class, man. It's
Mm-hmm.
really getting there. Mac Jones was the only one that was showing promise with that rookie season he had, and he definitely took a step back last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Patriots as an organization took a step back as well. It wasn't just on Mac Jones.
Absolutely. And then,
Um,
having Matt Patricia, the guy that's been a D coordinator for several years, defensive minded guy, doing splitting time with Joe Judge as I guess you want, they weren't technically labeled the OCs, but they were pretty much
that was the most quarterbacks taken in the first three rounds in NFL history. Fun fact.
2021.
2021 and best. But I mean, obviously your number one is Trevor Lawrence,
Yep.
which we
Trevor
already
Lawrence
talked.
has,
He's on track to possibly win an MVP this year.
yep.
You've got the only other notable ones that are showing promise are Justin Fields at the Bears,
Hmm.
Mac Jones, but Kyle Trask might get his first start in the NFL this year.
We'll see. He has to beat
Um,
out Baker, but I think he will play at some point because
I
I
mean,
don't see
it's
Baker playing the
the
full
tail
season.
between two duds, man. You know.
Hmm. And then, yes, obviously Zach Wilson. He might be on his way out this year. Who knows if
Yeah.
he'll make the roster. You got Aaron, obviously, who's going to be your starter this year, and then, dude, maybe Tim Boyle will beat out Zach Wilson for that backup
There's a
spot.
very good chance, and you could see Zach Wilson floating around in the NFL midseason. Because I tell
Mhm.
you where Tim will shine in that, and I guess we can just transition straight into the Jets if you want to.
Yeah, let's start with the Jets. That's a good
Um,
point. Mhm.
well, just transition into that. I think they're with this new NFL rule where you can have an emergency quarterback. That's kind of where Tim's position has been with the Packers. That's what he was whenever he was the backup of the Packers. Is Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He's got to play as many games as humanly possible.
Of course.
So because of that, uh, Tim kind of already fell into that role as an emergency quarterback, and maybe that's something that if he's not the backup, he could end up being that emergency QB role on that team. But I think this Jets offense, I just got an update that what I was worried about with the Jets offense, I mean, they obviously have their receiving core is young and they're spidery. Their running back core is nice.
They
They
also
got
have
a
some
really
with their receivers. They have some veteran presence now. Bringing
yes,
on Randall Cobb, and then
yes.
they've also brought in Alan Lazard.
Alan Lazard. It's really it's shaping up to be the Packers of 2021,
Yep,
which is that was their good run they had where they lost shockingly in the NFC Championship.
divisional round
Or
Niners.
divisional round. Yeah,
Yep,
I know. It's all because of a block punt. I was there. I know.
Jordan Willis, baby,
Yeah.
recovered by Talanoa Hufanga before he was an All-Pro safety.
Anyways, we're in the AFC North.
East.
East. It's in the North. That's dumb. That's so dumb. I've always thought that is the dumbest ever. Like it should be AFC North. Anyways.
The
It,
AFC Northeast.
okay. Yeah, that's more fitting because but mine is the Dolphins. Like all these teams are in the North.
Yes, correct.
Anyways, uh, this offense is good. They're going to be very good with Aaron
Mhm.
Rodgers. I as much as it pains me for Aaron Rodgers, they left the Packers. I still think he has it in him.
Got a lot left in the tank.
He played with a broke thumb all last season and was still making these highlight Aaron Rodgers throws.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, I think I would assume I think that he still has the best ratio to touchdown to interception
Yes,
ever in the NFL.
I
I'm
actually just
almost
saw it the
positive.
other day.
Yeah.
It was pretty. It was outstanding.
Yeah, it's insane. It's next level numbers. I mean, it's why he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Rings or no rings, physical quarterback play. He's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Still one of the most elusive quarterbacks in the pocket.
100%. And for him not to be a speedy guy, now in his younger years, absolutely, but especially now. I mean, he was evading sacks behind a very good Packers O line, but I think it's going to be interesting to see him in New York in the spotlight and in the New York media for sure.
Yes,
But then, on top of this Jets offense is they're going to go through some spoils the first couple games, I think, and then they're going to kind of settle, just getting some time and issues down. But where they're going to be carried is their defense.
of
I think
course. That was their bread and
this,
butter last year.
and that's what I was going to say is I just got an ESPN notification before we started this that the Jets just signed Quentin Williams to a 4-year max contract, second highest paid D tackle of all time. And let me just tell Quentin Williams is the man. I
Yes,
think he's a top 5 D
one of
tackle
the
in the league. He
one of
is
the
a
better
stud.
interior D linemen,
Uh,
without a doubt.
he can retire right now and be an option for the Hall of Fame. Hot take.
That is a very hot take. That is a very hot take.
Anyways,
I think we got to give him a few more years. A few more years playing at the caliber that he's been playing, for sure, no
yeah,
doubt about it.
I think so.
He's definitely impressed me since day one being in the league. Definitely one of the premier interior D linemen. I think. I mean, I think this year he'll play better than Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid. I just saw a thing where Aaron Donald's talking about they're talking about maybe shopping Aaron Donald,
Mm-hmm.
which is just an insane high thing to read. But um, they but it's not just Quinn Williams. They also have Sauce Garner, probably a top 3, if not top 2 corners in the league as he's going into his sophomore season.
Mm-hmm.
One defensive player of the year last year. Actually, I'm pretty sure both rookie players of the years came from the Jets
Garrett
last year.
Wilson
Yeah,
was
Garrett Wilson
offensive.
was
Yep.
the offensive. Yeah, very young, very spidery. That's the best way I can just describe the Jets. They're wiry. They're coming to play. They're not afraid of anybody in the NFL.
Yeah, no, a lot of firepower on that
Yeah,
offense, as you already alluded to. I mean, having Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard. We also forgot to mention Corey Davis, and then
Corey
Garrett
Davis.
Wilson.
Yes,
That is a
yeah.
loaded receiver
Very
room.
lethal receiver. I think
Brees,
Alan Lazard is the best blocking receiver in the NFL.
mhm.
And
Brees
then Randall
Hall.
Cobb, yeah, Brees Hall. I mean, Brees Hall before he got injured, I mean, was putting up MVP numbers. Like
Mhm.
he was on track to win the MVP.
Absolutely. Yeah,
as
he
a
definitely
running
looked
back.
like
Like,
he definitely looked like he could have been a contender for offensive
yeah.
rookie of the year up until that injury last
Mm-hmm.
year. So to get him back healthy this year, that's going to be huge for him. Pretty solid O line too. I mean, Skid, this was a really good team last year. They started
Yeah.
out 6-3. They were 7 and
Yes.
4 at one point, but then the wheels just kind of came off
The
at that
QB
point.
play, there was definitely the QB play is what's been holding them back. And
Mm-hmm.
as good as that defense was, they, if you leave a defense on, the best defense in the NFL, you leave them on the field for 90 snaps a game, they're going to get fatigued throughout the season.
Exactly. And then
And
look at their last game of the season last year. I don't know if you remember. It was when they were playing the Dolphins. This is when the Dolphins were still fighting for that last
yeah,
playoff spot. Well, the final score was I think it was 3-0 or 6-0. It was
yeah.
insane. It was just the inability for the Jets to score. They ended up losing a game to New England last year because of a punt return for a touchdown in the final
Mm-hmm.
seconds. That was a game that was I think the final was 10-3. So they lost a lot of games like that. I mean, their defense just played outstanding. They just couldn't produce offensively. And again, it all starts with that quarterback position. They
I think
went
that's where
through.
that's as many, like I said, as many offensive weapons they had last year, they were unable to capitalize with that
Mhm.
because of how atrocious the QB play was. I think that there was hard, you'd be hard pressed to find a worse quarterback than Zach Wilson in the NFL last year.
It was definitely rough for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, he's still young. I think he can learn a lot from Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he's a guy I don't know. Think of a guy like Tommy Maddox, a guy that looked like a bust with Denver early on in his career.
yeah.
His career gets revived after many years of being a backup in Pittsburgh, where he ultimately becomes a starter, leads them to the playoffs in '02, gets his first Pro Bowl nod and everything like that. So I'm not going to say it's over for Zach Wilson. It's just we're gonna have to wait and see.
I think he's on the way out. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's trending that way. Especially
Now,
whenever he came out and said that he was going to make his if they brought a veteran quarterback in, he's going to make his life hell at practice.
making Aaron Rodgers' life hell every
Yeah,
single
I'm
day.
sure that I promise you, Aaron Rodgers probably doesn't know Zach Wilson's name.
Oh man. But anyways, so I think the one concern I have with the Jets, this is going to be a little funny, but obviously I'm going to go back in history here. Now, the last time the Jets were this hyped up was 2008 when they brought in another Green Bay Packer to play quarterback for him.
Yeah,
This
it's
was
very
Brett
true.
Favre. Yep. So they started out that season pretty stellar. They were looking like they could have been potential one seed in the AFC that year. The wheels fell off at the end. Ultimately, the Dolphins ended up winning the division. That was a weird year in the NFL because I remember the Patriots finished 11-5, didn't even make it to the playoffs that year.
Yes,
The
there
AFC
was a
was
lot of
loaded,
yes. Well, that
but
was also that was the dominance of the Pittsburgh Steelers at that time.
yep,
Um,
Super Bowl champions that
which
year.
that's when they
Yep.
won the Super Bowl, and that
Mm-hmm.
was the catch, right? Was that the
Santonio Holmes.
Antonio Holmes catching the back of the end zone against the Cardinals?
Yes.
Um, my problem with the Jets, man, is it's sometimes it's hard to train losers to be winners, and that franchise has been plagued with losses for so long. Like you have them going 10-7 this year, and I think that's kind of generous. I'm gonna be
A
honest
little
with you,
bit,
and
a little
and
bit.
it's just based on your wins and losses. Like we're going on the list, you got them winning the Bills at home first game of the season. I think that's a pretty generous thing, especially where
Yeah.
the Bills have
Yep.
been a front running team, where they've started out the season hot and then they kind of regress towards the end. Uh, but I'll give you that. I think at Dallas is a very generous. That's going to be a dogfight because once again, that's another team that starts out hot
Yes.
and they
Yes.
start out every year. It never fails. This is the super. This is it. We're winning the Super Bowl this year. We're
This
making
is
it, and
our
then
year.
we're falling off. Then you got to win it at New England, which I like that. The loss at KC is very likely. But once again, the thing about KC though that is they do have Patrick Mahomes, but this Jets defense will be a test for that offense 100%.
Absolutely.
They'll have to run the football because they will cover. It's just the problem is it's not even the receiving core with Kansas City. It's the tight end position
Mhm.
that's going to be dominant in that
Oh yeah.
game.
No, without a doubt.
Um,
Noah Gray and Travis Kelsey, forget it.
yeah, And then at Denver, I mean that's kind of a money game. It really depends on which. If that's that's what week. That's week 5.
Yep,
I think at that point we'll know the identity
who
of the
they
Denver
are.
Broncos, and that could change the week before. Like you know what I mean? Like we could be okay. That was the Denver sucks, or oh okay, this Denver team is legit. The loss at Philly is well, that's actually at home, but Philly is. I think that they're just gonna continue to dominate
I
the
don't think I had
NFC.
any AFC East team beating the Eagles.
No,
Yeah,
I don't think it's likely.
they're gonna
Honestly,
sweep. I had them. Yeah, I had them sweeping the
they're
AFC
just
East.
they're on another. It's like they're playing another sport right now.
Yep.
At the Giants will be a very good game. That's a rivalry game. Um, uh, the loss at the Chargers um, is that's across the coast. That makes sense to me. The Chargers once again. That's another team that's midseason. Who knows what can happen at that point? That could be 7-0,
Exactly.
and that could be 0-7. At Las Vegas, the W. I agree with that 100%. Then splitting with Buffalo and losing at Buffalo, it makes sense to me. What do you have after that?
Then I have them beating Miami, beating
That's
Atlanta.
Miami. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, my handwriting is horrible. Then beating Atlanta, beating Houston, and then I have them splitting with Miami,
hmm
losing at Miami, beating Washington, beating Cleveland, and then splitting with New England. I have them losing at New England. So they actually haven't beaten the Patriots since 2015. They've been clean sweep every single
Is
year
that?
since.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that. I mean, I could definitely see. I don't know if this could be the year, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. The thing about the Patriots is where they even where they've been struggled this last couple of years, they've still had a top 5 defense
And
every year,
they still
and
do.
and it's a sleeper. People don't think about it, but that defense is legit. They
Mm-hmm.
are really good, and they're still really good. I mean, they're a top. I'm probably not top 5, probably top 10 defense in the
I would
NFL
have to
right
say
now.
so.
100%. I mean, they just it's guys that you don't know the names of. That's it's like they're janitors part time. Like, and I'm not disrespecting the Patriots by any means, but
But that's the formula that's worked for them for so
that's
long.
just what they
They
do.
build
Like,
their team in the draft. They don't
yeah,
spend big in free agency.
yes.
They rarely get that big name guy.
But I mean, Bill Belichick has lived on undersized white guys at the receiving core. Like that's
Wes Welker, Julian
but
Edelman.
I think ten
Yep.
and seven. I think it could go either way for me. It could go either go 9-8 or it could go 11-6. And
Mm-hmm.
it really where I could see the difference. The difference in the 9-8 is losing, getting swept by the Bills,
Yes,
because
which is a possibility for
which is
sure.
very possible, especially that first game. I could see them winning at Buffalo later in the season before I could see them beating them first game of the year. Because once again,
Mm-hmm.
that's the front running team. It's so hard to beat them in the beginning of the year. Um,
Absolutely.
and then I could see them. This could be the year that they could beat New England twice and go 11-6. I think regardless, I think we're looking at a playoff team.
Yep.
I think the Jets will make the playoffs. Now, where they'll sit in the AFC is the AFC's loaded. It's a QB
Yeah, no
heavy
doubt about it.
AFC, and it's going to be hard. The thing is like 10-7 might not be good enough to make the playoffs
That's true.
because that's how good the AFC is this year. It just depends on how everything shakes up, and there's definitely some weaknesses in the AFC. It's just the top is elite.
No,
Um,
exactly. And then I don't think they're there yet. I don't think we can say
no,
that the Jets are elite,
I don't think
but
they're necessarily like the favored to win a Super Bowl or anything of that nature, but I think they're
absolutely.
definitely on the right track.
But I will say, I believe so. Right now, the Jets do have the longest playoff drought in the NFL. Haven't made it since 2010 when they went to
Yeah,
the AFC Championship with Mark Sanchez. But I think this will finally be the year where they break that drought, and
yeah,
then that would make Denver the team with the longest drought after
yeah.
them.
I would have guessed the Lions.
Nope.
Yeah, I
Lions
would
made
have.
it in 16.
Yeah.
Yep.
But what I will say about the Jets is that something that is going for good for them is that I think that whenever Brett Favre went to the Jets versus Aaron Rodgers going, I think Aaron Rodgers is better current like in his current state than Brett
Yeah.
Favre was at that. I think Brett Favre was in stage like Ben Roethlisberger almost.
Mhm.
He's still now. Once again, he's still one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game.
Don't forget, Favre had
Um,
that incredible. I think it was actually the best year of his career with the Vikings after that year with the
yes,
Jets.
yes, that's what I'm
Even though that
saying.
was like the tail end of his career.
Yes, but I think that Aaron Rodgers is still a step behind the end stage of his career. I think he's still got some good football left,
Absolutely.
if not 1 to 2, 1 to 3 years, whatever. And I'm banking on it as a Packers fan because if Aaron plays 60% of the snaps, we get an extra first round draft pick. So come on, Jets, come on, Aaron,
There you go. There
help out
you
the
go.
Packers one more time.
All right. So moving on from the Jets, let's go with the Patriots next. So, oh, there you go. Now, I do have to admit, I'm looking at this. I was definitely very hard on the Patriots.
They got a
I
hard schedule though, man.
That's the
They do not
thing.
play an easy schedule.
That's the thing. So I have them finishing 5-12, which is honestly, I mean, it seems like that's pretty unlikely because I'm looking at their roster. Like Skid, the talent is there. Obviously, I think they have a top 10 defense yet again this year. My
Yeah,
issue is just it's going to be the quarterback play. Like,
yeah.
is Mac Jones going to be able to do enough to get past these elite quarterbacks in the AFC East? And yes, I did just call Tua elite.
Hmm. Well, whenever he's healthy and he's not playing with CTE, like he definitely is.
No,
I think he's
absolutely.
he. I think you can put him in the top 10 echelon of quarterbacks in the NFL or
Like
top
last
15.
year,
Yeah.
last year when he was healthy, he was like an MVP candidate.
Yes, 100%. Well, he's got the fastest wide receiving core in the NFL right now.
Yep.
No question.
Tyreek,
Jalen
Jalen
Waddle
Waddle.
and Tyreek are the two fastest guys in the NFL.
Mhm. But I
My
will
and
say the
then
Dolphins did lose Mike Gesicki. He's in New England
yeah,
now.
yeah, that hurts for sure. Which that's going to help New England.
Mike
Um,
Gesicki and Hunter Henry. So their tight
I
end room is
I
pretty
think
solid.
that was definitely a gray area for the Patriots since
Hmm.
Gronk left. It's kind of the same. Gronk was a Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Famer. Tom Brady's obviously one of the greatest, if not the greatest player that ever played the game of football.
Hmm.
It's hard to they're I wouldn't say they're in a rebuild because it's Bill Belichick. They're always rebuilding. Um, what I will say is that the Patriots will be sneaky. So some of these losses you have them losing to Philly, that's a team I could see sneaking a win on Philly. Um, maybe not first game of the year, or maybe it just depends. The NFL is so bizarre.
Yep.
I like to win. It's so hard to win in MetLife. Or is that It's MetLife, right? Is it?
That's where the Jets play. Yep.
No, what's the Patriots
Um,
Stadium?
oh, Gillette.
Gillette. It's so hard to win in Gillette.
It is. It
Um,
is for sure.
so it's you know versus Miami. Miami's coming north. That's just it's a hard place to win. So I can see them starting out 1-1.
Although as of late, Miami has had New England's
They've had
number.
New England's
So I
number, and
think
I
it
do
might have been
agree
a
with
little
that.
generous for me
Yeah,
to have the Patriots beating the
yeah.
Dolphins that early in the season.
Versus at the Jets rivalry game. I can see the split. I can see the Patriots continuing the dominance. I actually leaning more towards the dominance, so I'll give them the win against the Jets.
Mhm.
Dallas, I hate Dallas. I'll be the first one to tell you. I have no stock in Dallas ever. I think the Patriots defense. I think that Bill Belichick is a 500 times better coach than Mike McCarthy. So
I
that's
agree.
going to come down to them just getting out coached, and that's what happened whenever the Packers played the Dallas last year
Yes.
before.
Yes.
Yeah,
This
last
past
year.
year.
Whenever when we beat Dallas, Mike McCarthy will never beat the Packers. He has trouble. He struggles in those big time wins. Now he'll win at Washington. He'll win at Texans. He'll win at these
They
newer
barely
coaches.
beat the
But
Texans last
yeah,
year.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Yep.
it's just. But then they split with Washington. They
They
might have got
lost.
swept by Washington.
No, they split, but they
Yeah.
did lose to Sam Howell last
Yes.
year. Yep.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. So I have no stock in Dallas. So I'm actually going to give the Patriots the win at Dallas. They're
Mhm.
coming off that big Jets win. They're road warriors. They're going to go down to Dallas, win down there at AT&T Stadium, and then turn around and win at New Orleans. That place is
Yep.
kind of a dumpster fire right now. Um, and man, I'm taking the Patriots over Las Vegas.
Which that's where I say I was definitely harsh on them, but
It's a split
it's
game. It's definitely a
it's
split.
it's
I think.
50-50 for sure.
And then that puts them lost to Philly. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's five. They're 5-1 going into week 7 against Buffalo, where they get their second loss. then they turn around and lose to Miami. And then I could see, they're beating Washington. They're beating Washington at home. They're beating what is that?
Indy.
They're beating Indy at home for
Yep.
sure. The Giants. That's somewhat of a rivalry game again. It's a rivalry based on teams hate the Patriots because of their dominant reign, and then obviously the Giants and the Patriots
Dethroned them twice.
have beef for sure. So I think Belichick takes those games really serious when they play the Giants. So I think I could see the Patriots squeaking out a win there as well. I don't think they're going to beat the Chargers. I don't think they're going to beat Pittsburgh at Pitt. That's a hard place to play as well.
Exactly.
And then this is kind of where their wheels fall off as they lose to Kansas City at home. You have bought into the Denver stock.
I think. What did I say that last episode? I gotta double check my spreadsheet, but I'm pretty sure. Let's see. I thought I had Denver going 9-8 or 10-7. Denver. Nope, I had them going 9-8.
Yeah. So I'm having them beat Denver. They're gonna split with the Bills. They're actually. I'm thinking the Bills are gonna dominate this year.
I had the Bills sweeping New England yet again.
Bills gonna sweep them, and then I've got them sweeping Jets at the end. So let's see. What's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it's 6, 7, 8, 9. I got to go on 10-7. I got to go on 10-7, man. It's a big difference when you're 5 and 12.
I think that's the one area where we differ. It's definitely where we see the Patriots going this year.
And it could be somewhere. I think a fair assumption is that they end up in the middle of that. I think like 7 and 10, 9 and 8, kind of a fringe team. The thing about the Patriots is I thought the Packers were going to roll them last year, and they lost.
Bailey Zappi almost beat them in overtime.
In overtime, man, it's like. That's the thing about those teams is Bailey Zappi he actually, now the thing about Bailey Zappi is he holds the record for most yards in college.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you knew that or not, from Western Kentucky.
So it wasn't Mike White?
It was. He dethroned Mike White. Actually, Joe Burrow broke Mike White's record.
And then Zappi broke.
And then Zappi just broke it his last year at Western.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
So, and you can fact check me. I thought I read that the other day.
I knew Mike White. I knew Mike White had. I'm pretty sure I knew he had the most.
Which Mike White was there the year before we played Western. That's whenever that was his senior year.
I thought he was still there when we played them.
Could have been. Anyways, that doesn't matter. Anyways,
yep.
But bottom line about the Patriots is they're scrappy. They are scrappy, and where they like I said, we barely beat them in overtime, and we had a Bailey Zappi that was his first career start in the NFL, which I don't think he even started.
He didn't start. Mac Jones just started, and that was when he got knocked out. He had an ankle injury.
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, that just comes down to elite coaching, and he's an elite coach. I think he's the best coach. Hold on. He's the best coach of our lifetime.
You were going to say Vince Lombardi's the best coach of all time, weren't you?
I mean, there's just no question, obviously. He's got a trophy named after him, Tom. He has a stadium named after him. He has a street.
Whoa. Which stadium is named after him?
Oh, wait, no, that's somebody else.
Curly Lambeau.
Charlie Lambeau. They both have statues there at Lambeau Field.
Curly and Vince.
Yeah, and they're equal size.
The thing is, like Lombardi. So Lombardi ended up. I can't remember. Did he retire for like 1 year and then he came back to coach the Rams?
Yes, that was in.
Or no, not the Rams. It was either the Rams or Washington. I think it was. You know what? It might have been Washington because I'm pretty sure he coached Sonny Jurgensen.
Yeah, that is beyond my football knowledge, Tom. I'm a local guy.
But going back to the Patriots, yes. So of our lifetime, I would say more than likely Bill Belichick is probably the best coach. But I will say his kryptonite was Mike Shanahan, believe it or not.
Yeah, that is very true. Very true. And it's kind of like the Nick Saban effect, which Kyle Shanahan didn't start at or Mike. Mike was at where was he at before San Francisco, or was he always at San Francisco?
So Mike was with the Niners in like '94
Yeah,
when they won the Super Bowl. He was their offensive coordinator.
gotcha.
Then he went to Denver in '95. So he was actually the head coach of the Raiders in like '88, '89.
Mm-hmm.
He had beef with Al Davis, so Al Davis fired him. Um, but yeah, and then Mike went to Denver when we know the rest is history pretty much.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, Mike was a part of that George Seifert tree. So you can technically say he's a part of that Bill Walsh tree.
Yep. Exactly. So, and let me tell you, if you haven't watched the Bill Walsh, Bill Belichick docu series, I don't remember what it's called. Have you seen it?
Is it just the Bills?
Yeah, it's just talking about the beef between Bill Walsh and uh, Bill Belichick.
Belichick or Parcells?
Or I'm talking about Parcells, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm off it.
You're all
That's a good
good.
one. That's
That's
what I'm
another
talking
that's
about, man.
another large coaching tree is the Bill
Yeah.
Parcells tree, and obviously
Yes.
Belichick is a part of the Parcells tree.
And that's he was at the Jets, right? Wasn't Parcells at the Jets, or was he at the?
Yeah, so I believe they started together with the Giants, but then
Yeah,
yes,
the Giants.
Bill
Yeah,
Bill was with
yeah.
Bill when he was with the Jets, and actually, yeah, when Parcells retired with the Jets, um, that's when he basically handed the keys to
Yeah,
Belichick, and then
and he
Belichick
left the next
had the
day.
shortest
Yep,
tenure as a head
yep.
coach in NFL history.
That's right. That's a
Yep.
good. Have you ever seen that documentary? It's really good.
Mhm.
And like they talk about like they really still don't like each other. Like it's like in this interview, they're like, that's the most I've ever seen Bill Belichick talk in an interview, and uh, you can tell like the tensions are definitely still there. He does not. They do not like each other.
Mhm.
But
R.I.P. Bill Walsh, man, one of the greats.
that's what I'm saying. It's definitely an elite coach right there. But
Okay, so
I
moving
just
on, moving
just
on from the Patriots.
yeah,
Let's go with the Dolphins next.
yep,
So I have the Dolphins finishing 9-8. It was tough for me. I just to me it comes down to the inconsistencies I saw last year. Obviously, last year we saw with a healthy Tua, they were brilliant. They started 3 and
hmm
0, and then they dropped like 4 or 5 games. Or no, so they dropped started 3 and 0, then dropped 3 games. Then at one point they were, I think, 8-3, 7-3, or 8-3. And then they dropped a lot of more games in a row. They either ended up finishing 9-8 or 10-7. I can't remember. Just squeaked into the playoffs because of that win against the Jets. Went one and done, but again, they were down to their third string quarterback, Skylar Thompson, against the
yep.
Bills. Played well, but it just wasn't enough.
Just it's not enough. It's not. He's not elite, man. When you want
Mhm.
to, head to head elite battles, you have to have a guy there that's going to sell out for the team. But like he didn't play bad though. I'll give it. He did not play bad.
Not in that game particularly, but
No.
in the other games he played in, it was tough. But I mean, he's a rookie quarterback. He was a third
Right.
string
You
quarterback.
can't expect
Miami
much.
was down 2 quarterbacks going into the
Yeah.
playoffs. So
Who was
yeah,
their
just
backup? Who was the backup quarterback for
Teddy
Miami?
Bridgewater.
Yeah, and Teddy was playing good, but he got hurt as well, right?
Yes. Yes. So actually, I think there was one game in particular where it was when Tua got knocked out with one of his concussions, and then Teddy ended up getting a concussion in the same
Yeah.
game. It was honestly like the NFC Championship. That's what it felt like. Um, but yeah, just and then the Dolphins have a tough schedule this year. So I had them going 9-8. It was a tough one. I had them losing to the Chargers to open up the season. And the Chargers were a team who I had taken a step back this year. I mean, I had the Chargers
Yeah.
finishing at 8-9. And then I have Miami losing at New England. Now Miami they tend to be New England's kryptonite in the division,
Mm,
but I think I should have had them splitting. Yes, I have them splitting with New England this year. I do have them beating Denver. I have them losing to the Bills. I have them splitting with the Bills this year, and I had them losing to the Giants, beating the Panthers. Again, I have no one beating Philly in the AFC East. I have all AFC East teams losing to Philly, um, beating New England. Let's see, losing to Kansas City, beating the Raiders, splitting with the Jets, beating Washington, beating Tennessee, losing to Baltimore.
gotcha. Well, I'll tell you the thing about the Dolphins, and I noticed this when they played the Packers last year, which that started the Packers' stint to the
Mhm.
possible playoff, was the big win we had against Miami, and it was down in Miami.
I
Right?
remember.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Was
was
that Christmas? Close to Christmas?
yes, close to Christmas.
Yeah.
The thing that about Miami is the Packers played almost solely man coverage and cover four the entire game, and where what struggles in cover four is that's like their kryptonite of their offense is because they live off go balls. Like,
Absolutely.
and you have two fast receivers, one on the edge, one on the inside. Like it's just, that's what it is. But I think we Tyreek Hill didn't play. I think he was injured. No, he played. He
He,
played.
he
Jalen
played.
Wall.
Waddle was battling some injuries at the end of the year.
I think we held him for under 50 yards.
Mhm.
I also played a guy that had Jalen Waddle on fantasy that week, and so it was like a double reward for me. I ended up winning because Jalen Waddle
Of
didn't do
course.
shit against the Packers. Um,
That was the game
but
Jari Alexander had. Like, did he have two or
yeah,
three picks in that
yeah,
one
he
game?
was absolutely ate up. And Tua actually played. That was his first game back, I think, or second game back.
Yeah, he ended up he played the whole game, but
Yeah,
apparently you saw the difference between first half Tua and second half
yeah,
Tua. I think they said in the first half was when he actually suffered that concussion.
yes,
Um, that ultimately ended up being his last game of the season, if I can remember
yes,
correctly,
yes. It
because
was.
again
He
he
wasn't
suffered
right. I
three
mean,
concussions in 1 year.
we that's how we were able to bottle them up. And what stops a team running quarters on you the entire time is a run game, and it's
Mhm.
non-existent for the Dolphins currently.
Which is
Um,
surprising because they had a
yes,
pretty good running back room with Raheem Mostert,
yes.
Jeff Wilson. Um, they do they still have Miles Gaskin?
I think so, but just those first two guys. I mean, Raheem Mostert was an elite, he was an Olympic sprinter.
Hmm.
Like he's just as fast as those two receivers, and
Yeah,
I know this firsthand because of him running all over us in the NFC Championship, and that was 2019.
2019 baby.
Yeah, I remember. It's like he rushed for almost 200 yards against us. He might have rushed for 200 yards.
Well over
Yeah, it
200
was like
yards because
240 or something like that, wasn't it? Like it was
he
something.
set the record, I believe, for
Yeah.
a conference championship game,
So
and
it's
he had
just
four touchdowns.
now I understand that the half life of the running back in the NFL degrades pretty rapidly,
Hmm.
but Todd Gurley's your best example of that. Or Le'Veon Bell. I mean, either one of those guys. But there's a
Yeah,
handful of those guys. If you remember, I remember the last time the Dolphins had an elite run game was with Jay Ajayi.
Jay
Um,
Ajayi. Yep,
you know what I'm
back in
talking about?
twenty
Yes,
sixteen. Yep,
and he was running, but he was an elite. And then where'd he go? Disappeared, right?
ended
And
up
like,
actually winning the Super Bowl with Philly the very next
well,
year.
yeah, I mean, but like, how many
Yeah,
touches did he have with
yeah.
Philly? Like,
He did not have as much of an
yeah,
impact with the Eagles as
no,
he did with the Dolphins in
he
that
was
one
kind of like
season.
it's kind of like just a third string
Oh, we
team
lost you.
back. And am I still there?
Yeah, you had some internet issues.
Oh,
You like froze for 1 second.
okay. Am I good now?
You're good now.
What's I agree with you on your 9-8 Dolphins,
Hmm.
and I think they'll start. I think our games will differ a little bit. I think they'll start out hot and
Yep.
kind of degrade
You'll
kind of like they did last
probably have
year.
them beating the Chargers.
Yeah, I ain't bought into this. I think the Chargers are going to be good this year. I think they're going to run that conference. To be honest with you,
Hmm.
but I think that the problem with the Dolphins is we're going to hold back. Is the beginning of the year, no one's going to stop Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. They're going to run all over everybody. Tua's
Fresh
going to look
legs
like
makes a difference.
yeah. And then about mid-season, people are going to be like, okay, let's just double these guys up, or let's set them deep,
Let's
put
force them to
everything out
run
in
on
front of
us.
us, and they'll run the
Yep.
football and then stop them. That's the way it
Hmm.
goes. Now, the twist of this is the Dolphins have a sneaky good defense. Also,
Hmm.
they have one. They have another top three D tackle in the league, and I
Christian
think
Wilkins.
Christian Wilkins, man, funny guy. Also, fun. He has some really funny highlights, but
I played against him in prep school.
he is a dog. He's really good, and that's a. I think if you remember the Bears, whenever they were running, when they had a really dominant defense as of recent, and obviously not like the
Talking
'82 Bears,
2018.
2018,
Yep.
their cornerstone of that defense
Akeem Hicks.
was Akeem Hicks, man, an
Hmm.
absolute demon on the inside. And I think this is that the last time that Bears have lost the Packers?
Is that the last time that the Packers have
Yeah,
uh
you say 2016?
2018? So yeah, I'm pretty sure they split.
Yeah, I think that's the last
20
time.
Yeah, because the Packers, I mean, as Aaron Rodgers alluded to, him owning the Bears, yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I
pretty much
think
owned
that's.
them since.
Anyways, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But it was based on what my point is based on that dog inside, and that's
Mhm.
if you've seen in the last 10 years, that's kind of where the defenses have shifted. Is it's no longer like I've got the best corner in the league. You know, ask Jerome Revis about that. I've got the best
D
uh,
line,
D line in particular. You know, not even like the best D line.
they're following
It's
that. They're
but
following
that
that 49er formula, man.
yes, man, that's what it is. It's really a dominant D line. I mean, look at the when the that was 2021, no 2019 when the Packers met off with the 49ers in the NFC Championship.
Yep,
That's one of the best D lines ever assembled.
and they were just eating, man. I mean, you had
Yeah, I mean they had what 5 sacks against the Packers, like,
yeah,
and that's when the Packers had the probably top five offensive line with I forget the center's name. He's a starting center for the Chargers now. But
not
David Bakhtiari, huh?
Questenberry. Did they have Questenberry?
No, it wasn't Questenberry. Questenberry's on the. Hold on, I have to look him up. He won. He was a Pro Bowler that year. Um, but it was his contract year. He
Hmm.
ended up getting paid at the Chargers.
But anyways, that D line. So that was Bosa's rookie year. They
Yeah,
also had D Ford,
Corey
DeForest
Lindsley.
Buck.
Corey Lindsley.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yep. DeForest.
Um,
But yeah, anyways,
there's
I was saying DeForest Buckner, Eric
yes,
Armstead,
DeForest,
like
yes,
forget about it.
absolute. And but
DJ Jones.
even on that though, look where your cornerstone of that D line was, or your interior guys absolutely dominating. If you get an
DeForest Buckner.
interior pass rusher and like they'll play the run and they can rush the passer, it's so hard to beat. I mean, look at the Rams. I mean, Aaron Donald, he plays every position, but when he was inside, he's dominating because
Absolutely.
that's where people don't talk about. It's kind of where your weakness is on especially in the pass game is your guard and center pass blocking.
And then, I mean,
Um,
so to like talk, to throw this division into it, I mean, one of the best interior guys to ever do it, Vince Wilfork, had
yes,
dominated the AFC East for a
for
long time. So
years,
you have a very
yes.
good point there.
Vince Wilfork. Then if you even go to these hybrid guys like J.J. Watt
Mhm.
dominating on the inside, um, the Bears would roll Khalil Mack in a three a lot of the times, and that's just then you got a guy that's just faster
Yeah,
and more explosive than you are line up against you. I think that's where this Dolphins that could be their catalyst is, and they also have Xavier Woods and um, they have who's their
Jerome.
safety?
Well, I was gonna go Jerome Baker, one of their
Yeah,
linebackers.
Jerome Baker. Yeah, they have a good safety too. I don't remember. Well, they had what's his name for they had guy to the Steelers now,
Minka Fitzpatrick.
Mika
Yep,
Fitzpatrick. But
that trade
that's
happened. That was the tank for two a year,
yeah,
right?
take for to it.
2019. So they lost
Yes.
everyone. They lost Minka Fitzpatrick that year.
But I think it's a sneaky defense. I don't think it's top 10 by any means, but it's sneaky. They'll
Hmm.
make you work for it a little bit, especially in the run game. Um, but I think 9-8 is pretty fair though. I don't think that they're going to do much better.
Absolutely.
They're definitely going to take a step back for sure.
All right. The moment we've all been waiting
Yeah.
for. One of the elite of the AFC. Talking Buffalo Bills here. So, I actually do have the Bills taking a slight step back. So they won 13 games in the regular season last year. Obviously, they had that weird situation where they were the 2 seed, but if they were to actually make it to the AFC title and play the Chiefs, it would have been at a neutral site because they were both
Yeah.
technically the 1 seed,
Right.
I guess, if you want to put it that
Yep.
way. But anyways, so I have them taking a slight step back, going 12-5. Where last year they went 13-3 because they only played 16 games. Um, it's now, are they going to make it to the Super Bowl? Skid, I don't know, man. I will say I think their window is getting, it's closing more and more every year. I think if they were going to do it, I think the year to do it would have been this past year or 2 years ago when they ended up losing to the Chiefs in that epic divisional round. I I think the window is closing on them. I still think they will win the AFC East, but I think the AFC East in the next few years is going to be much tighter than it has been. It's not going to be as easy for the Bills to win the East anymore. I think the rest of the competition is definitely getting better. The Bills aren't going to walk away with this as easily as they have in recent memory. And obviously, the biggest threat to their own division right now, I believe, will be the Jets.
Yes, I think you're right. Um, where this team shines is obviously their all-star quarterback Josh Allen, who is the front runner for the MVP this year. You also have Stephon Diggs at receiver. You
Gabe
have
Davis.
Dawson Knox, Gabe Davis. Both Dawson Knox just got a max contract deal. They also just drafted Dalton Kincaid, the Utah tight
Yes.
end.
Yep.
That's the guy I wanted the Packers to take if they were going to take a tight end in the first round. So I think he's an electric player. Can really, especially in the pass game. They also got Justin Shorter at receiver, fifth round. Then they got some help on the O line with Osiris Torrance.
Mm-hmm. It's
He's
already a pretty good O line too.
yes. Well, that is a very
I mean,
dominant.
Deion Dawkins, Roger
Yeah.
Saffold, Mitch Morse.
Well, but obviously, I think that where this team has struggled in the past, which might change this year, is the run game. It's non-existent. I mean, minus Josh Allen,
Mm-hmm.
that's been their run game, and even with Devin Singletary, which I think Devin Singletary didn't get really his chance.
Yeah, and he's gone now. He's in Houston.
Yeah, and that's what it's. I think you'll see a breakout year. Well, not. I really think that run offense is going to be dominated by
James Cook.
Pierce.
So
What's the running back
so
Houston?
James. So Devin Singletary is the running back that left for Houston.
Yeah.
But the Bills do have James Cook, who's Dalvin's brother.
Yeah. James
Last
Cook
year was his
and
rookie year.
Damian Harris, which Damian Harris has put up solid numbers, even with the Patriots, which is not a run-heavy team.
Yep.
In the past, they have been here recently, obviously, but I think they could take a step forward in the run game this year, just because they're going to have to if they want to get past the next level of beating the Chiefs, beating Cincy, even beating the Jets to get out of the division. They're going to have to take a step forward in some aspects. Whether if that's it's like they've consistently for the last 3 years had a top 3 to 5 defense, and I think coming this year they're going to continue that. But when the Packers played the Bills, we threaded that defense up. They just scored more points. That's how you win games. But
no, exactly. I mean, the talent's there.
Mm-hmm.
I will say one thing, probably an unpopular take, but I will say towards the down the stretch, it seemed like they were turning the ball over a heck of a lot more at the end of the season.
Josh Allen's not afraid to throw at the ball. I will tell you that. I think he is. He's got one of the strongest arms I've ever seen in the NFL. It's a Brett Favre-esque arm. It might be stronger. I'm gonna be honest with you. Maybe that's his issue is that he's throwing the ball too hard. But
does he take too many chances? Is that?
I think that's an explosive offense. I think the offense is kind of about taking chances. That's why they do so many QB runs. I mean, that's as big as Josh Allen is. There's still big guys in the NFL that will knock your head off.
Absolutely.
That's Ben Roethlisberger. And the thing about the Bills is they had that game against I don't remember who they played. Whenever Josh Allen threw those 2 70-yard touchdowns to Dawson Knox last year. That's just.
I feel like that happens so frequently that.
That's the thing. They're a boomer bust offense.
Yep.
They have the most production. They're 500 total yards a game, or they're under 200.
Yep.
And I think that if they got a little bit more balance in the run game, it would open up their pass game quite a bit. And I think they have the offensive line to do it and the backs.
Of course.
So I think where they're
going, Damian Harris, absolutely.
Yes. And then you even mix Josh Allen in there, which I think Josh Allen's still a top 15 running back in the NFL. I think if you mix him in there, and then people forget about Stephon Diggs, like he's not an elite receiver.
Yeah,
like Stephon Diggs is a top 5 receiver in the NFL,
without a doubt.
I think then if you switch over to defense, you got one of the premier, if not probably top 5 edge rushers of all time. He's trending towards the end of his NFL life, but still had great production last year.
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. A Super Bowl MVP. Did he win the MVP? No,
No, I think it was
no, no,
Cooper
no, no.
Cup.
Yeah, Cooper Cup.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I think it was Cooper Cup.
I was thinking with Denver. Did he not win it with Denver?
Oh, God, yes, yes.
That's what I thought. I thought he won the
Yep.
MVP with Denver.
You're no, you're
Because
right. Yeah,
when
I
he
was
had 3 sacks against I don't even remember who they played.
Cam Newton. They played the Panthers.
Yeah, that's right. Um, I think yeah, I think the Bills are legit. Tre'Davious Ward,
Tre'Davious White.
or Tre'Davious White. Who's their big they got that big ass linebacker in the middle.
Edmonds.
Tremont Edmonds, like an absolute
Tremaine
unit.
Edmonds.
Tremaine
Yep.
Edmonds, he looks like a nose guard running out there. A nose guard, yeah, but I think he
Speaking
runs
of
like a
nose
four.
guards, Ed Oliver.
Ed Oliver, man, once again, another top 10 guy. Like, and that's why the defense is so good, though. I'm going back to it.
The D
Uh,
line.
the
It
D
all
line,
starts with
man.
those
It's all
interior D
starts with
linemen.
the D line. Like they ate the Packers up. That was our issue. We couldn't stop them because, David Bakhtiari didn't play, and I think we had like 3 first-year guys playing on the O line that game. That's really where our kryptonite was for sure last season. But I mean, Tre'Davious White is a top 5 corner.
Yeah. As
Micah
you already
Hyde
mentioned, I was going to say, did
when
you
he's
mention
back
Micah Hyde?
healthy.
Yep.
Micah Hyde is a another great Packer that we let go that is booming. He's a top 10 safety.
Without a doubt.
Damar Hamlin's probably in the front runner for comeback player of the year.
Yep. He's already he's been a full
Yeah,
participant in minicamp, so
I
he's
would be
good to
honest
go.
with you. If he plays one game, he's going to win comeback player of the year. There's no
Absolutely.
doubt. He died. Like he died and was brought back to
He
life. Like,
literally died. Yeah.
yeah,
It's going to be, just like when Alex Smith first took the field a couple of years ago. Once he was on the field, it was like it was
it
game
was
over.
guaranteed. It was
He was
guaranteed.
comeback player of the year.
Which
So
hot take. I don't really think Damar Hamlin's that good. I think he's a solid safety. I don't think he's like elite by any means, but he's
he's not a
definitely
Ronnie Lott, but like he's
no.
yeah.
I mean, but I think he's definitely elite enough to win. He's going to win comeback player of the year if he
Oh,
touches the
without a
field.
doubt,
If he's
without a
on,
doubt,
if he's on fucking kickoff, he's going to win comeback player of the year. Like,
absolutely.
um, and they also have a top 5 kicker, which is random, but it's very true. They have a good
It makes
kicker,
a difference down the stretch.
Kyle
Tyler
Bass
Bass, man.
and Tyler Bass. So I think this team is elite. I disagree with you. I think they're going to take a step forward,
Ooh,
and I think they're winning the
ooh.
AFC this year. I think this is it. I think this is the Bills' year. I'm a Bills fan. I am. I think if I wasn't a Packers fan, that would be like if the Packers Lambeau Field sunk underground. I
You
think
would be a Bills
I'd
fan,
be a Buffalo Bill. I'd be a one of them crazy ass fans jump through tables and shit.
jumping
So
through tables. Bills Mafia,
um,
baby.
Bills Mafia.
Well, I will
But
say
I
if
am a
Levi's Stadium sunk to the ground and I couldn't be a 49er fan, I probably just wouldn't even watch football anymore.
well, I just love Josh Allen. I think he's done
Agreed.
nothing. He kind of came from our background, Tom, whereas he came from a smaller school and he's been doubted, and that's all the people have done is doubt him whenever he's
Tough
been in
rookie
the
year
NFL.
too. In
Yes,
2018, people were already like labeling him a bust.
yeah, yes. And it's just now look at him. I think, and like I said, I love. He's such an old school quarterback because of him.
But
Just
he
like
reminds me of like Jim McMahon. He plays with
yes, man, he's just like
that recklessness.
running people over. Right?
Yep.
That's just insane. Um, But yeah, dude, I think the Bills. I think they have a chance this year. I think their biggest or capstones are obviously the Kansas City game. They play Cincy this year in the regular season.
They do play Cincy.
I thought they had that
I
contract
had them
go.
losing to Cincy.
It
It's
depends
at
on where
Cincy.
it's at Cincy.
It's at
Man,
Cincy.
Paul Brown is surprisingly it's a hard place to play because they especially as
When
of
there's
late.
fans there. When there's fans.
As of late, it is. I went there, Tom. We went and watched the Packers
2 years ago.
2 years ago, and
Yeah.
that place was rocking. I mean, it's sold out. I mean, there's 60,000 people there. Like, and
I'm
it's
just
loud,
used
very
to
loud.
I'm just used to like the end of the Andy Dalton era. That was when obviously I lived in Kentucky.
We
Went to
went watched the
the
Texans. Yeah,
so
Deshaun
that went
Watson's first career
first
touchdown.
career start.
Yeah,
We were there. Yeah, I just remember I went to 3 Bengal games when I was living in Kentucky, and they never sold out.
yeah.
Um, the it seemed like there were more fans of the visiting team than the Bengals.
You could take all the fans that read all 3 of those games and put them together, and there's one. They're like the first game of the year. They're probably the preseason game. There's gonna be more people there than there were at all three of those games.
That's insane. That's the
It's
difference.
just,
I mean, that's the difference. That's what winning does.
well, okay, we bought lower arena, middle of the end zone tickets, and they were $30 a piece. Those were $500 tickets all
I
day
got
long.
to see the Niners play there for like $50. That
Yeah,
was
it's like, I think we watched the Texans. When the Texans came down, we watched them. It was $36. We watched J.J. Watt
and that was also a
power bomb
Thursday
that
night
guy.
game.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
We watched J.J. Watt power bomb that guy on that last
on the
play of
last
the
play of
game.
the game, we got to see that in person. And it's funny because I remember we were actually like sort of walking out, but then
Yeah.
it was like
Yes,
me,
we
you,
stopped.
Tim, and
Yeah.
Cam. They were like, "Hey, let's just watch the last play here, see what
Yeah.
happens." They obviously, did the backyard bullshit, all the
Yeah.
laterals, and then JJ Watt called game.
Power bomb that offensive guard. That poor
Oh,
guy.
golly, yep. Oh, but anyways, to wrap this up, so yeah, I mean, I think we pretty much already said it. I got the Bills finishing in first. I got the Jets going in at number 2, potentially ending their playoff drought. I was very harsh on New England, have them finishing
Yeah.
last with 5-12. I have Miami going 9-8. With this loaded AFC, a 9-8 record, I don't think is going to be good enough to get to the
No, I don't
playoffs.
think so. I think I've got the Bills first.
You had New England. You had New England going 10-7.
I got the New England at 2. No, I got the Jets finishing higher. I think I have the Jets at 10-7 as well.
You had them at 11-6 or 10-7.
Yeah, so I think I got the Jets 2, Patriots 3, Dolphins 4 at
Yeah.
9-8, which is not a slouch 9-8 by any
Yeah.
means. I think that if you put any 4 of these teams in the AFC South, they're winning the conference. 100%.
That's very, very good point.
No, there's no, I mean, or if you put any of these 4 teams in what's the
NFC South?
NFC South, which is that's the Dallas. Is that Dallas?
Nope. So it's the Bucks, Saints, Falcons, Panthers.
No, the Dallas has Eagles. That's NFC East.
And did you say NFC East? I didn't hear that.
Is it NFC East? Is that where it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, should be an interesting year.
Yes.
But Skid, thank you as always for coming on here.
Absolutely, man.
We will have to preview the AFC North, and then we get to move on to the greatest conference in the NFL, being the NFC.
Hey, but the AFC North, though, man, that's where the possible Super Bowl champions coming from, more than likely.
You got Cincy?
Or the Ravens, man.
That's true. Lamar just got that contract.
Can't wait
to talk that one.
Yeah.
But Skid, thank you again for coming on as always.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
That wraps up this episode of the Tabor Football Podcast.